Okay.
Hey, Internet.
Good morning, Internet. It's the evening.
Good morning. Welcome to Paper Kraine.
Welcome to Paper Kraine, where I can literally see the sun setting out of my back window, and yet my sense of time has completely dissolved.
Yeah, I face the east in my room, so I always get a very clear indication of when the day is starting, which has also been good for making me get out of bed during this time. But yeah, once noon hits, it's anyone's game.
Yeah,
Gotta be eyes on the clock, or I'm just gonna let it fly by.
It's also that I was talking to my partner / roommate Mateo today, and he said, "Yeah, I've given up on knowing what day, what number it is. I know what weekday it is, and that's all I can ask of myself right now."
Yeah, that is very real. I spend a lot of time looking at this and being like, oh, okay, cool, wow. I was very surprised to know that we are so significantly in April.
Yeah.
Hey,
everyone.
Hey, what's up?
It's April. It's QuaranTIME. We themed this month after co-producer, friend of the show, lovely human being who you will see performing later, Brittany Crowell. We had talked about what quarantine has done to everyone's internal clocks, and she came up with QuaranTIME. We were thrilled. So welcome to the QuaranTIME edition of Paper Kraine. The lovely human being next to me is Cameron Jeffs, co-producer, host of Pop Rock, and producer of content extraordinaire.
The lovely human being next to me, I'm still figuring out how the
camera works.
Is Lizzy Lincoln, who also does a ton of things and is really great.
Backstage, more or less metaphorically, we have Paul Purvine, our tech master. Thank you, Paul, for making all of this happen on StreamYard. And we're about to introduce you to some wonderful people that we are going to spend some QuaranTIME with. If you are tuning in from wherever you are, I know we have some people in Texas right now. Thank you. Thanks for spending the QuaranTIME with us. It's weird. It's a flat circle. Nothing makes sense, but we're really glad you're here. So, speaking of people to spend QuaranTIME with, we would like to introduce the one, the only, Carrie Griffin.
Hello.
Hey,
what's in your rotten soul?
Which direction is stuffed for me?
You're doing great.
It's mirrored. Things are normal to the viewer, but entirely backwards to us. That's a little behind the scenes for the viewer.
So everybody, please welcome Carrie Griffin. Carrie is an artist. I would consider you a comedian. You're my favorite social media follow I've ever made.
I'm a very successful comedian to a small audience of myself.
And really, that's kind of all that matters.
That's my general feeling. As
long as you're your own company right now, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Carrie is with us for a very special first ever for Kraine. With everyone digging into new hobbies and new arts, we figured it might be nice to feature some people who do non-performing things. So Carrie is going to be drawing our acts this evening.
Mm-hmm.
She is a wonderful artist. Please go follow at What's in Your Rotten Soul on Instagram. It's a joy. And Carrie, we will check back in with you after we've had some music from Cancion Franklin in a couple of acts.
That sounds good.
Before you go, any words of wisdom on delving into hobbies in a meaningful way during the QuaranTIMEs?
Well, What's in Your Rotten Soul, the thing that I do, is my main hobby where I draw something every single day. So I guess my suggestion would be to have possibly some kind of obsessive issue in your brain. And it's really good. It's really easy to stay in the practice of doing something than if you feel like you have to, or maybe the world will end.
Which, at this point, Carrie, may be all that's keeping us together.
And I will continue to do so to the best of my abilities.
Thank you for joining us, Carrie. We'll see you shortly. Awesome. Cameron, would you like to introduce our next butter-related endeavor?
I am extremely excited about this butter-related endeavor. Our first large act here is going to be a wonderful how-to cooking demonstration for us. It is with something that I've spent a lot of time with this quarantine, which is soup, and particularly the delicious, delicious soup of jambalaya. And we are so lucky to have Leah and John Ogle here to share some delicious.
For our first ever Kraine culinary endeavor.
Kitchen. Tonight we're gonna make vegan jambalaya. I'm Chef Leah, and this is my sous chef.
Hi everybody, I'm John.
Okay. So first up, we need to put 2 tablespoons olive oil into the pan, along with 2 tablespoons butter. Okay, that's good.
How much is 2 tablespoons of butter?
You put enough butter on toast to know this, John.
Is that a tablespoon?
Yes.
So 2 of those.
Yes. Sometimes he just doesn't know things.
Is that good?
Yes. Now turn the stove on medium, usually around 5. Get that cooking, and then add 1 tablespoon garlic to the pan. This is really rough work, as you see.
There we go.
Perfect.
You know how much garlic that is?
Okay, now you need to chop the onions, so you gotta hurry up. So now we're gonna dice an onion and a bell pepper, and that's all gonna go in the pan. Now please look at the camera facing John, and you can see his chopping skills.
I don't have any chopping skills. All right.
You're gonna cut your finger off.
I'm using a technique from Gordon Ramsay, because if you watch the internet long enough, you get good at things just by watching.
He thinks he's gonna take my place one day. You still have a pepper to chop, you know.
I'm getting there. There we go. How's that?
Well, get all the onion peel out. It's good. It's a decent dice
Okay.
for a novice.
I've never made jambalaya before.
You're killing me inside.
What am I supposed to do? There. Right in the pan?
Right in the pan.
Okay.
Now dice the bell pepper the same.
Yes, ma'am.
Really hard handling a sous chef.
Do I get a break?
When you're done. Very nice. No fingers either.
More?
Dice.
Oh.
I really need to teach you better skills.
There's little squares, look.
Put it on the pan.
That's diced.
He's gonna get such a big head.
Should I stir the pan at all?
We'll get those peppers in first, but then yeah, you should have stirred it 5 minutes ago.
You didn't tell me to.
It's Some things you should just know. How'd you get the name chef in your sous chef?
You gave it to me.
Your hand. Okay, so now once all those, we're gonna start cooking a bit. This is gonna smell wonderful. And next, go ahead and grab your can of crushed tomatoes and open that along with your can of beans. Just be sure to drain your beans. You do not want all that dropped in there.
Did you know you could open these sideways?
Just open them. Open them however you want. But yes. I hope you're smelling the kitchen now. Nothing's better than onions and garlic and pepper.
It goes in there, right?
Yes, right in there. And now you're going to want to fill the can up with water full and also put that in the pan. And be sure to give it another stir, sous chef.
Yes, chef.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. All right, what's next?
Open the can of beans, drain it, and also that will be added to the pot.
I don't know if anything else will fit in here.
It fits.
Okay.
He doesn't trust me. And that's why I hired him. What are you laughing at?
You married me.
Didn't have to hire you.
Oh, I gotta drain these.
Yep.
Is that good?
Yeah. Chopping is better still, but it's okay. You're learning. Give it a stir. Make sure you stir it gently. It's going to be really full, but it's going to cook down. Okay. Next, go ahead and add 1 1/3 cup white rice. It can be any white rice you want. Go ahead, John. Show the kind of white rice we got. We thought would be very thematic here. We picked some nice Cajun rice.
Cajun country. And that's, do you know who that is in the picture?
Do you know who it is in the picture?
No, you don't.
Okay. We're going to stick what really matters here.
How much rice?
1 1/3 cup.
Okay.
Now, once you pour that in, you're going to give that a stir, get all the rice moist. There's a 1/3 cup too if you really need. You better be right. You don't just eyeball things unless you've done it before.
Hey, I fold all the laundry. I know how to do thirds.
Where are we now? We're in the kitchen. We're not talking about laundry. Give it a stir. We gotta cut the sausage.
Nice.
You know, sometimes he just likes wasting time in the kitchen. He'll learn eventually. Okay. Now, there's going to be one last thing before we add the spices. We're going to use 2 links of whatever vegan sausage of your choice. I personally have my favorite. It's actually a spicy Mexican sausage, but I love a good spice in this jambalaya. So that's what I picked. But you can really pick any kind of flavor you want with the sausage.
So what do I do with it?
You slice it.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this plastic or is this?
That's a casing. You need to take the casing off. There's a casing. You know, I can't explain everything. If you just don't know, like he does, you know, sometimes it's just impossible. But it's okay. You gotta start somewhere, like I said.
There we go.
And then you're gonna slice it into thin slices. You want to make sure you have some nice flavor in every bite. you don't want to like have giant pieces and floating around in there.
Can't believe this is vegan.
Why do you say that?
It's so delicious. Okay.
Okay.
What about it? Isn't that good spice in there?
There we go. See, sometimes they really need to make their own decision because it's their dish. They're the one who's really going to be bragging about it in the end. My kitchen, their dish. It's okay.
How's this?
That's actually very good. But make sure your thumbs are out of the way. We do not want that to be in the jambalaya.
I did a good job.
Just bragging. Okay, so now all the ingredients besides spices are in there. So now we're on to our final touch. Most important part, not besides butter, you cannot have a good jambalaya without some good spice. So John, we're going to need 4 teaspoons salt.
There it is. 4 of these?
4 of those. Since I use crushed tomatoes, it doesn't have a lot of salt.
2.
So adding the salt really adds some good flavor.
3.
You don't have to count out loud.
4. It's
Okay.
video, it helps.
So now we need a 1/4 teaspoon pepper. So pepper, black pepper, not the, I would have said cayenne.
How much?
1/4 teaspoon. You know about what it looks like. I've trained you well enough. Okay, this is too peppery. It's your fault. Stop. Stop now. Stop. He gets out of hand, like I said. Okay, so now 2 more ingredients. 1/2 teaspoon of the dried thyme. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne.
How much?
1/2 teaspoon.
That's all that's there?
No, measure 1/2 teaspoon.
Can I just throw a little in?
Measure 1/2 teaspoon.
Yes, Chef.
You never made this recipe before. It's very important to stick by the rules. Afterward, you can add your own flair, but you definitely want to taste it the first time. Okay. Now we're going to add the 1/4 teaspoon cayenne. Oh my gosh. If this tastes bad, it's your fault.
Hey, I'm not the chef. The recipe.
That's not my recipe. Okay, last step. Stop wasting time in the kitchen. 1/4 teaspoon cayenne pepper. If you do not like spice, you can omit this part. That's right, cayenne. We love spice, as you see the big giant container full. So we're doing a quarter. No. Use the 1/4 teaspoon.
A 1/4.
1/4 teaspoon. I have to stay on his case. He'll just screw everything up. Come on, 1/4 teaspoon. You gotta give it a stir. Hurry up.
I'm leveling it. How's
It
that?
have leveled by now. Just dump it in there. It's beautiful.
Can I put another one?
No. Okay, so now you're gonna give it a giant stir. I like using the wooden spoon. Makes me feel fancy. Makes you feel fancy too.
We don't want to damage the skillet.
Exactly. See, I have taught him something. So we're gonna give it all a stir. Set your timer for about 45 minutes. I, however, always check it a bit before. You're gonna cover it, and you're gonna wait probably about 5 minutes. It's gonna come to a simmer, and then lower your temp to usually about 3.
Hey Google, set 45-minute timer.
There we go.
All right, 45 minutes. And that's starting
And
now.
we will check on it in a little bit. Thank you.
Wow, that was tense.
Y'all, I would.
As someone like As someone quarantined alone right now, I feel like that was a glimpse into a whole social dynamic that I like am not privy to in any way. Like,
I also
yeah.
love that there was the sous chef offloaded more sous chef work onto the Google at the end. You will remember this, Google, not me. There's a pecking order in that house, and I wonder where the cat sitting on the rug fits in all of this.
All the way at the top. Definitely top of that pyramid.
Thank you so much to Leah and John for inviting us into their 2-camera cooking show production.
Yeah, elaborate.
I am very impressed. And kicking myself for not having knife skills that are that good. Leah can give John all the feedback she wants. She's the chef and he's the sous chef. But that dice looked very fine.
Yeah, he's doing great, in my opinion.
We're proud of you.
Yeah.
And someone else that we're proud of, and we're proud to introduce, friend of the show, friend of our dear Paul Purvine, who's our technical director, Cancion Franklin is going to do some music for us. This is back on something that we'd have on more of a normal Kraine, but we are so happy to have be providing you with a little bit of art, visual art, a little bit of culinary art, and now some musical art. So please welcome Cancion Franklin.
Hey.
Hey everybody, I'm Cancion. This song, I'm playing a couple songs today. I'm quarantined out here in Arizona, and it's the perfect place to be quarantined, you know. There was never anything going on in the first place, so what are you going to slow down? But this song here is called Mother Tongue. Nice, Paul. The city's breath is on my neck. I'm cornered by new freedom, that is true. And if I wreck on this highway, it's all because I think of you. The radio's on, Chevy is listening, rain is gone, the world is glistening. And why, oh why, is all my love in vain? The answer is tapping at my window in the mother tongue of fallen rain. I'm only one step from daylight, but the dark is tangled like a dream. On the run, noon to midnight, I wonder if you ever think of me. The radio's on, your Chevy is listening, rain is gone, no one's listening. And why, oh why, is all my love in vain? The answer is tapping at my window in the mother tongue of fallen rain. All right, that's a new one. I haven't played that live before, so this is the moment. It's kind of weird. I usually play in loud bars, and now I'm in my room. So I'll just wait. All right, this second song here is called Blue Jeans, Hey, I'm never gonna get tired of that. Hey mama, I'm passing through. Got a little line of credit and nothing to do. Hey mama, what's new? If my heart's gonna break, won't it breaking for you? Oh, the plans we made. Now my friends seem strange. The jukebox takes my money and my blue beats fade. Hey baby, it's a fact. Your daddy is on oxygen, still smokes them by the pack. Hey baby, just relax. Got the bottle of pills from the time I hurt my back. All the plans we made. Now my friends seem strange. The jukebox takes my money and my blue jeans fade. Worked till I was blue, just to be in the red. Since windbreak and even become getting ahead. Hey trouble, just my luck. You put cocaine on my fingers, gold rings on my truck. Hey trouble now, it's been rough, but just getting to know you, it's never enough. Oh, the plans we made. Now my friends seem strange. The jukebox takes my money and my blue jeans fade. My blue jeans. All right. That's a new one too. It's a quarantine song, as they say. I wonder how much content is just being out there. Because people finally have time to do stuff, you know? Everybody's writing that album that they've always meant to write, myself included. All right. This is my last song. Thank you so much to Paul, my friend, for having me. And to the wonderful folks at Paper Kraine for having me as well. This is fantastic. Gave me a reason to get the dreadlocks out of my hair. And hope to be back live, East Village. This song's called Just Made Rent. Well, I've got a problem. It's only for me. And if the table wobbles, I'll put cardboard beneath. Hit it to fix it. Like an old TV. And if the roof is leaking, I'll put buckets beneath. Now everyone who drinks too much, and everyone who just made rent, everyone in a little bit of debt, come walk on with me. City to city, America sleeps. It always hurts the most in the in-between. So hit it to fix it. That old country music beat. I didn't learn enough as a child. Too much, and everyone who just come walk on with me. Now everyone who drinks too much, and everyone who just made rent, everyone in a little bit of debt, walk on with me. Thank you so much, y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
Cancion, you made me cry a little. That was the song that I needed today.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't know about you. Cancion has a monthly show at the 11th Street Bar in the East Village. Whenever this is over, we would love to see you all in person, whether that be at the Kraine, at Cancion's show. Please come through. Yeah, I needed that. That was really lovely. Thank you so much, Cancion. And with that, we have our first official drawing check-in with the one, the only, Carrie Griffin.
I'm so excited.
Carrie?
Hello.
Hey.
Wow, I was very, very struck by Cancion's beautiful hair, obviously.
I figured that'd be a draw for you.
It's the only thing I could think about the second I saw it, so I did this lion man playing the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
I love
To
it.
represent his hair. So that's
Oh,
drawing one down.
Good drawing, Carrie.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's incredible, and I love it very much. Thank you for your first edition of our Paper Crane draws. We'll be checking back in with you after our next. That was real good.
That was really good. That was an amazing drawing.
Cancion, hit up Carrie for your majestic portrait of you as a guitar playing lion.
My visual art skill is had trouble with squares earlier today.
I don't know. You work really well in a 3D medium. If we give you a craft project, you're there.
Yeah, something with dimensionality, textures. I really like to play with hot glue, but it's pen to paper, not me.
I feel that. So before we move on a little bit, I was going to check in with you about something that you brought up in a recent Paper Crane producer call, which was, what's your media vibe during this whole moment? I know a lot of us are stuck inside, or if you're an essential worker, you are putting together a playlist or a podcast to get you to and from your place of work. What's something that you've been vibing on in terms of songs, books, movies, music?
Yeah, it's been very unpredictable for me. I feel usually in different seasons of my life, I'm oh, this is a time when I'm really drawn to sitcoms, or ooh, it's a serious drama time. for me, it's been all over the place. So I've just been following my heart and just being like, whatever strikes me. I'm watching High School Musical, the series right now.
Excellent. Yes.
I'm reading The Odyssey.
How those things mash up is the only thing I want to know.
Oh, I would love it. I would love that. But yeah, I feel like my brain has just been like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Frozen 2, like all over the place. Have you had like a discernible vibe?
I have not had a discernible media pattern. I have just recovered in the last few days from the Rona. And in the midst of my sickness, I realized that my brain couldn't deal. One of the symptoms is confusion, and my brain couldn't deal with super complex issues.
Oh, no.
So I started reverting to a lot of real comfort food media, which for me is a loop of Parks and Rec, or I started watching Steven Universe finally. I've been told for a million years I would love it. And I was like, this will be a fun little cartoon. Y'all, I know I'm like 13 years late to the party, but it's an emotional journey. And if you're going on that emotional journey with a high fever while under the influence of NyQuil, it's a deeply spiritual connection that you now have with the series.
Wow.
So I was like staying up very feverish, just watching one half rock, half human boy's quest to like find out about meaning and how to care for each other.
Yeah.
It was very lovely. Highly recommend.
Amazing.
And I feel like there's a lot of value in going to things that comfort us during this time and like returning to the font of things that make us feel really good, such as food. Let's check back in, shall we? With From Butter with Love.
Let's.
How's it going over there, everybody?
Oh, it's
Oh,
great. I am in my favorite place, my garden. I love spending time out here, taking care of my plants, and pick some fresh herbs. Probably gonna top the plate later with some fresh herbs, maybe thyme, some basil. Nothing beats that. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to just like get a nice sweat on out here and really be one with the plants. Yeah, so it's about just my favorite place to be.
oh, Leah, it looks so peaceful. Now, is that a friend you have in the back helping, or?
Oh no, my sous chef loves relaxing in the garden with me. As you see, he is definitely one with the plants.
Yeah.
He loves every.
Oh, that looks so nurturing and so good.
Yeah, that's right. Come on. Yeah, perfect.
Beautiful. You guys have this handled. We'll check back in with you.
Hey, wait.
Oh, please.
I wrote a haiku.
You wrote a haiku?
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Can I read a haiku?
Yeah,
Please.
lay it on us, please.
Hang on. I wrote it on this little origami football.
Love it.
Hang on. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Born ready.
Perfectly awake, here lies, neighbors bond must hold. The air is so clean.
Wow.
I loved that. You're really multi-talented, not just a sous chef, but a lovely poetic soul.
I have to cut some more herbs. Sorry.
Best at it.
It's good to have people that are good at things helping us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Leah, that was great. Y'all, poetry and dinner. That's all we can ask
I love
for.
it.
Next, we have a wonderful friend with us to get us through our next moment. We have Tyler Donohue doing a reading of Love in the Time of Corona. So please welcome Tyler.
Hello, how are you all? So happy to be here. Okay, I, like all of us, am stuck in my house, so here we go. Love in the Time of Corona. I suppose there is a certain something about people who have called New York City home. And yes, I am mindful to skirt carefully around the term New Yorker. I am not sure what qualifies one. Perhaps it's paying taxes, or is it 5 years, 6 years, 10 years of living in the city? Does one become a novice New Yorker when they are able to expertly navigate the sprawling subway without directions? Perhaps one is a New Yorker only when they leave, and they feel the wholly consuming need to return, like something pulled out from under them. I remember the ground disappearing when that flight left JFK all those hundreds of days ago. And so, through hell or high water, we return. For God's sake, I am on an empty airplane returning to the city. Yes, we call it the city as if it is, in fact, the only one in the world, despite global pandemic. And my main concern as I boarded this flight, you might ask, that I only have one of my favorite types of pens, and I'm worried I won't be able to get another one before the ink runs out. I have stopped counting how many days it has been since I left Tanzania. I never started counting how many days I've been on American soil, but I have been counting the days until I return to the city. Like so many moments, I have envisioned it in my mind for far too long. Flying first class as an early gift to myself, a weekend spent connecting with old friends, walking my favorite streets, drinking and eating at my favorite locales, my dearest Anna coming to celebrate my birthday with me. Well, this first class seat feels a little less special with only 9 other people on the flight, and there's certainly no champagne involved like I so ridiculously had imagined, though I do have a nice cup of coffee and lots of legroom, so I suppose it's not all for null. Gallivanting around town doesn't seem like it will happen, or at least not in the way I had imagined. Anna has canceled, which makes total sense. After all, she does not have the ridiculous faux New Yorker blood running through her veins. My birthday, which I had imagined being spent in bustling, well-lit restaurants and draping myself across beautiful bars and drinking whiskey or champagne, will most likely be spent at a quiet dinner and then snuggled on the couch. But that's the thing. I will be there. I will be in New York. I will be in the only place I have known as home in the last decade. I vividly remember watching the island disappear below as I flew towards South Africa. I spent so long wondering what it would be like to set foot here again. What might have changed? Oddly, I find comfort in returning, despite the moment we are all living through. When the skyline came into sight, my breath caught in my throat. My eyes welled with tears, and as I walked quickly through the terminal, ready for the biting March morning air, I remember New York is always hopeful. Always it believes that something good is about to come off, and it must hurry to meet it. Relationships are not what I expected them to be. Perhaps the most stupidly obvious and profound statement. It just isn't what I had imagined. And let me be clear, I am deserving of the Olympic gold medal in daydreaming. I have daydreamed every person and moment down to the molecular level. So imagine my surprise when I arrive in South Carolina and I just cannot figure out how to connect. I feel like I have nothing to say, and then I want to talk nonstop, and I feel like no one wants to listen. People ask questions that make me want to scream. How was Africa? I don't know. How was North America? What was your house like? A hut, right? No, it was not a hut. It was a house made of bricks and concrete with floors and walls and a roof. And then others ask substantive questions, questions that make me think. What vegetables do they grow? And what about fruits? And do they fish? Is the climate hot or no? It's cold. Oh, there are mountains in cold regions as well. So they must grow a lot of bananas, yes? And who colonized that country? And when did they gain independence? I want people to ask me real questions. I want to ask other people real questions. How is your heart? What has been the highlight of the last year? This week, during an astrology reading, the woman looked at me deadpan and asked, "So, are you lonely?" And I felt suddenly unmoored. I pretended for a moment. I wouldn't say I'm lonely, but I feel like I'm moving through something that no one I knew before will understand. And so, yes, I guess I am lonely. I am sitting with all of this alone, and I just don't think people will understand, and I'm exhausted by it. So I'd rather just be quiet. You're right. They likely won't understand. My mother's feelings were hurt after I called Anna to talk to her. I learn more about you listening to you on the phone than from our conversations, she says to me, tears in her eyes. How many days I spent craving to be near my mother, and now I don't seem to know how to be near anyone at all. I don't know how to be anywhere right now. I feel detached and calm as I say this. I've felt this way for a long time now. I think I felt this way before even leaving New York over 14 months ago. So, relationships are not what I had daydreamed. Shocking. Friends are no longer as close as they were when I left. People have moved on to new apartments and jobs and romantic relationships. And I find that I am thankful that the flux of human connection continues to rip me wide open. Life would be so very uninteresting without this ebb and flow, without the tumultuous building of a relationship and it never being quite what you thought it would be. Yesterday, I awoke with a wild rush in my stomach. It is a familiar sensation. It is the preparation and the packing, the readying for departure. This is my zone. I thrive in the day's to-do list. I move quickly, efficiently, perhaps mildly manic. I dance around the room, packing toiletries and underwear and repacking and resorting. My mom says, I've never heard anyone pack so loudly. There's a perfect time for everything. This is my practice. This is my grand waltz. The day's soundtrack is Justin Bieber and then Stephen Colbert, and I am laughing, which feels like a sweet relief. I've had rising anxiety, as I'm sure we all have, and I have a tiny voice in my mind telling me I should reconsider packing this bag, going on this trip. But it has never felt like a trip. I only began to feel this anxiety settle when I began to pack my bag again. I spent a month living out of a backpack, traveling through Southeast Asia, while fantasizing about luxe luggage and checked bags and fancy clothes and hangers. Then, last night, I overpacked 2 suitcases, trying to contend with the reality of packing for a trip to New York City, and also the unknown of this current situation. I finished and with a heavy hand poured myself a glass of Pinot Noir, and then I took everything out of the suitcase, rid myself of all the hangers, ditched the nice clothes, the heels, and consolidated my belongings once again into my constant companion, the dirty and worn-out backpack I had traveled with for over a year. As I lay on the floor in my underwear, staring at my perfectly planned airplane outfit, my perfectly packed backpack and carry-on, I am reminded of when I was in high school. Every night I packed my backpack and hung my uniform. Honestly, from an outsider's perspective, it may seem like an anal type A control thing, but it's my practice. I, now, after a very long journey, know how to live with the necessities. I know how to maximize space, both literally and spiritually. I have an eye for this process of packing and unpacking, of being in movement. The dance of the day before travel is my magnum opus. As the plane began to sink lower towards the ground, I drank coffee and peered out the window. I was waiting to see the city unfold below me. There is some sort of clarity that comes over me in the sky, some sort of perspective. And like so many flights before this one, I felt something release. My preconceived ideas of how relationships will be and what they will look like, hell, what the rest of my life or even my year would look like. This has not been a journey back to any one person or place, but rather deeper into myself. Painful at times, yes, but stunning in its expansiveness. We are all living through a moment of unknown. This is a feeling with which I have grown quite close to over the last year. Having lived in the mountains of rural Tanzania in relative social isolation for a year, in a constant state of suspension, I have only one piece of unwarranted advice. Sit down and sit deeper into it. Breathe into the space you so often neglect. The unknown of politics and pandemic are scary, and they prove absolutely fruitless to panic over. The unknown of what it means to sit with yourself alone for possibly days on end, to really get to know yourself, to finally have the time you've been saying you needed to start that project, write that story, build that app, email that friend, paint that portrait, to breathe. The unknown of finding out what is really holding you back and holding you in your comfort zone. There's work to be done there. This is actionable. So be prudent and use this time wisely. Make the unknown your close confidant and comfort. Before I took off, I was texting a friend back in Tanzania, and the word unknown translated to I have known. And so there it is. I have known for what feels like 1,000 years now that this process, this sitting in the muck and mire of fear and joy and jealousy and gratitude all at once, that is the very essence of what it means to feel love. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you for sharing. Y'all, we've had all flavors of art, and it has been deeply soul-filling in a very good way.
You know what flavor of art I'm very excited about scoping out right now?
What?
I cannot wait to see what Carrie drew.
Same. Carrie?
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
Oh boy, what a beautiful piece. I went a little abstract with it, and I had to do on-the-fly research to remember the shape of Tanzania and South Africa, which stacked onto each other look kind of like a boat, which I thought went well with her travel themes. And then also here we've got a little bit of New York skyline and a little new growth.
Carrie, oh my gosh.
So that's that.
I am Carrie.
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
You're playing along at
We're in
home.
a museum.
Yeah, like this is a new element of Kraine that we kind of in a meeting had an idea, and I was like, who of my cool art friends would like be down to do a fun, silly thing? And we're like, Carrie will do it. And then Carrie produced unimaginable art. It was incredible.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. My ego is loving this.
Carrie, before we let you go, the next question we have for a little chat is, are there any places in your home that you've come to really appreciate in a new light during the quarantine times? Or any places you've come to suddenly resent?
Well, I mean, I have so many resentments that it's hard to narrow down. You know, I didn't build it. I put some pillows in a corner and decided that I had a little zone for myself.
I love that.
Earlier, like late last year, and I've got my instruments in it. I've got a record player in it, and oh man, I liked it before, and now it's like, oh, at least this area is, at least this one thing is nice. I can go sit in this corner and pretend I'm cool.
A cozy corner.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your cozy corner. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
After our next thing. Cameron.
Yes.
Same question. Where are the spaces in your home that you've come to like love and appreciate with in a special light during this time?
Yeah, this has been a really great time of communion with me and my fire escape. Like a friend of mine in the past, but like now kind of a lifeline, a tether to the natural world, which is really beautiful. But something that I really like about me is that I really love, I'm very much a nester. So I spend a lot of time like making fun little flourishes to my space. Like that's where my like phone keys and wallet go.
Cameron, I love that.
Dish.
That's
yeah,
so
like
fun.
I have over here I have an aspirational gallery wall. So it's like a gallery wall of things that like I do have, like cool concert tickets, like drawings friends have done for me, and then also things that I don't have. And those things are just blank pieces of paper with like the thing they are written in it.
Cameron, I love that.
Yeah, it's really so like having this is where I keep my MFA. I framed it, which is to say, taped it to a piece of cardboard and drew a frame around it. So I feel like those kinds of like little touches, like really are tethers to like, oh, I like can access fun and creativity. Like, so even when this situation has me kind of feeling a little crimped, I can like be like, oh no, I like created this space in such a way, like from my own brain.
Hell yeah.
And here it is. How about you? It is interesting doing these Kraine shows and like Zoom calls and stuff to like get glimpses into like friends and collaborators' homes. For
everybody's home zone. My desk is set up to see out my back alley. We live in an apartment and there's 2 rows of homes with this shared common space. So it's not just that I've enjoyed, there's this big, beautiful tree that I've watched change from flowers to now it's like having little leaves and birds live in it. But also I've become deeply invested in the basketball skills of the neighbors directly behind us to our left. It's a dad and his kid. And the kid got in trouble for bad sportsmanship the other day. And I didn't know until I started spending more time here Skyping and working and like nesting and committing to like, okay, I want to have a desk space that I like. And once I did that, the unforeseen benefit was that I get to still indulge my deep and abiding love for eavesdropping. And I didn't know that I would get to do that. So like there's the neighbors with the basketball over here that are like, he's getting better, but dad's still very good and had to get the ball off the roof the other day. There's a rooftop garden that's like really popping off down to the right now. Some neighbors saw me in the window like a few houses down and waved hi while they were making dinner. So even in like by virtue of optimizing this space, there's come to be this like weird sense of like still seeing the people that I see. Just from up here, which has been really nice.
Yeah.
So speaking of places in our homes that we didn't know we appreciated as much as we do, we now take you to Paper Kraine co-producer Brittany Crowells' first ever performance feature, the QuarantWINE Tour.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sandra, for all of those wonderful toilet paper alternatives.
And for giving us a new way to recycle all that pesky junk mail.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to those just tuning in. You are watching the QuarantWINE Tour, your favorite drinking besties, Brittany,
Rebecca,
and Kelsey.
Today, we will give you a special look into wines for these quarantine times.
Had to give up that wine tour that you and your best friends planned for that birthday party?
Actually, you don't. These wines are native to, you guessed it, right where you are.
So while you're social distancing, you can be sure to keep your Vivino profile up to date with exciting new notes and tastes.
Tell me, Kelsey, can you introduce our first wine?
Why, yes, I can, Rebecca. If you want to follow me into my kitchen, you will see that here in this cabinet, we have the kitchen Cabernet.
Ooh,
Well, you see, it's only a Cabernet if it comes from the kitchen cabinet region. The ice vine from the freezer area can also be found in the cabinet region, but it has different notes and a little more chilled than woodsy than the Cabernet. Woodsy. Brittany, do you have some new wines to share?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Kelsey. After the popularity of our Chardonnay from the State of Living Room, I am excited to present to you the Pinot Grigio from the Chouchac region. This wine has some seriously grassy notes and a truly regional flair. I swear I am from New York, and when I tried it, I could taste cement and old pizza in the aftertaste of these grapes.
Wow, that is crazy.
I know, right? Rebecca, I am really excited about this next wine that you're going to share with us.
Oh, yeah, listen to this one, QuarantWINOs.
Yes, this is a really rare and exotic wine that I bring to you today. It has been quite aged, as I meant to bring it to a holiday party a few years back, but accidentally left it behind. The Côte d'Rhône. This wine comes from the Côte Closet district. It requires a climate of warm pockets to be able to properly ferment, and then gives off notes of electronic Rhone.
I think I can hear it.
Close our eyes and listen for a moment.
Brittany, you had one more wine that you wanted to share, right?
Yes,
That
I risque one, I believe.
Yes, that I did, friends. This is a wine that is extra risque for the QuaranTIME show, but you should all know where to find it. The 2020 Petite Syrah. This rare reserve batch originated in the next door neighbor's apartment. Mr. Ah? Can you see it? Oh, nope. There it is. Mr. Ah is a small man, but quite the sommelier. And the Petite Syrah does come with its warnings. It requires social distancing to acquire. However, the taste is so much that it almost takes your breath away. Like, I swear, I almost couldn't breathe for a week after drinking it.
Yeah, Brittany let me try a sip of this Syrah, and I couldn't taste anything for a few days thereafter. Truly unusual experience.
We recommend staying home after drinking this wine until all the symptoms subside, at least 14 days.
Do you think it's worth it?
For me, I'd rather enjoy some of our other wines from the safety of my own home.
Ah, yes. The socially responsible thing to do.
Wash your hands, folks.
Well, that was our last wine for today. Enjoy trying these new grapes, and remember to drink and socialize responsibly.
Join us next week only for the Chianti, only to be found behind lock and key in that old trunk in your basement in your parents' attic. But beware of what you might find aging with it.
And we'll sample some Meritage, a wine created by people who pledge to love each other forever. Some of you might find conflicting undertones beneath the aged sweetness this wine vows to deliver.
And finally, the Muscat, which has been fermenting in your laundry for the last few weeks. This is the perfect wine to enjoy as you make your way to the laundromat after a long sabbatical.
That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of
The QuaranTIME Tour. Be sure to follow us on Vivino and let us know how we're doing. Cheers!
And good night.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I love puns so much.
Yeah.
I
That also
needed-
made me think a lot about how few wine names that I know, because I started to kind of crank in my own mind, and the only thing that I could come up with was a creation that I think would actually be kind of delicious. It was Chardonnays. Mayonnaise with Chardonnay in it. Wouldn't
a
that be-
wine-based aioli.
Yeah, exactly.
What would that be good on? A wine-based aioli? Yes, any kind of like a deep panini situation would benefit from Chardonnay.
Yes. Or like a little pig in a blanket with Chardonnays, like with a really roasty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I made some vegetarian pigs in a blanket last night, and it was deeply comforting.
Yeah.
Folks, if you would like to share your own QuaranTIME puns or QuaranTIME stops in your home, please share them with us on the social medias. We are at Paper Kraine Productions. But to go with our QuaranTIME, we would like to do another check-in with our cooking team. Folks, how's it going?
Hello. Speaking being home, you know, the best thing about cooking jambalaya is it just cooks itself once you get it ready. So you have plenty of time to tidy up your house, clean the bathroom, clean the kitchen, clean the baseboards. You know, as long as you don't mind putting a little sweat and blood into it, you know, your house can be spotless by the time dinner's done.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
cheers to that.
Great tip.
Oh, I need a sous chef. That's what I'm learning from this whole experience. I should have been quarantined with a sous chef.
Yeah.
Feels like that would have been great. Before we do our check-in with our last couple acts for the night, I wanted to bring it back a little bit to let you all know why the Paper Kraine team is here, why we're doing things on. We're doing things for multiple reasons. One is that we love this community. We love the people who are sharing things. And we wanted to connect with people who have been with us in the past, who will be with us in the future. When our show in March got shut down, we, like all of the folks who are dealing with show shutdowns right now, were super bummed. But the one thing that has gotten me through this, and I know for a lot of other independent artists and producing teams, is having venues that we call home. We operate out of the Kraine in the East Village, which is upheld by the incredible team at Frigid, New York. If you have enjoyed the show, if you have enjoyed our programming in the past, if you plan to enjoy it in the future, they need your help now. They've made the show possible for us for almost 5 years, which is incredible. And we would like to be back at our brick and mortar home as soon as humanly possible. If you have the ability to right now, we would highly suggest you go to Frigid New York, Frigid NY, frigid.nyc/donations. Thanks, Paul. They also have a Patreon, which is something that you can subscribe to get merch and swag and to support their ongoing mission to give independent artists accessible spaces to produce new work in New York. Whether you found us through our sister show Feast, whether you found us through one of the producing team, or just through the internet, please consider supporting independent spaces in New York right now. They need us more than ever. So before we move on to some quick practical saving tips from an artist collaborator, Cameron, do you have any Quaran tips that you'd like to share with the people?
I have found that being really intentional about how much screen time I get and how much like audio time is good, but I've also been really into, I'm always an advocate of public libraries, and especially now I've been really into the digital offerings that you can get through a lot of public libraries. I, as a New York Public Library member, am most acquainted with them, but a lot of just look up whatever your local library has. A lot of them have like really great archival movie streaming services, music streaming services. I really like the app Libby, which you can get ebooks and audiobooks through. And so I love to in the big culinary adventures that I've been going on during this time, I've listened to personal memoirs that are inspiring. And right now I'm reading a book about meditation, and it's just really nice to kind of add a little more artificial human interaction to your day, but human interaction into your day. How about you?
I have a couple Quaran tips. I mentioned casually too, I teach human children, and a family that I work for got in touch and wanted to chat, and I mentioned that I had been sick, and they were like, with the thing? And I said yes. And I was immediately grilled in the nicest possible way about how do you get through it. I have to give a big ups, huge ups to Morgan Jade Booker, a friend of the show who's performed with us before with May Adra, because she is a human who got through the Rona, doing it like a lot of us with no healthcare and limited resources. And she passed on tea, constant stream of tea. If you find yourself getting sick, start a kettle. Don't take it off until you're better. And just constant hydration, Cameron. Constant hydration. DayQuil is hugely helpful. The biggest thing, though, my biggest Quaran tip, is I'm a person who struggles with limiting my productivity. And we've been working in therapy, shouts out to my therapist, Sahara, on disentangling our senses of self from the roles that we play in the outside world, which we no longer have. So the virus sucker punching me in the back of the throat and taking me offline for like at least a solid week. I was sleeping multiple hours a day and all night. And it has forced me to reckon with the fact that like accepting that we need to love our bodies and give them rest is okay. And it's important. So if you're finding that during this time you are not as productive, don't let the virus be the thing that forces you to take a breath. It's the thing that forced me to take a breath. But I would really highly recommend just like giving yourself the space to like identify a new sense of self and reconnect with what you love about yourself authentically during this moment.
Hell yeah.
That's a lot. But anyway,
and while you're staying hydrated, in addition to hitting up those herbal teas, might I recommend just water? You can put anything in it and it's delicious.
Infused water.
Like lemons and ginger and water, and it's going to be great.
And then it's like a special treat.
Yeah, it is. It's fun water.
You know what you shouldn't put water on? Grease fires. Did you like that transition?
It took me a second, and I really liked it a lot. We're about to learn a little bit about grease fires, y'all.
Welcome to our final Quaran tip, public service announcement from friend of the show, Willie Zabar, and his good friend, Shlomo the Sheep. Please enjoy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shlomo the Sheep, and I'm here to talk to you about what to do if you experience a grease fire. Let's say you're frying something up, and the grease catches fire. What do? I'll tell you what you don't do. You do not put water on that fire, because water will make it worse. What can you do instead? First of all, you turn off the heat. Then you will smother the fire. You can do this with the lid of the pan or with a damp cloth. And remember, if the fire gets too big, call 911. This is Shlomo the Sheep reminding you to stay safe.
Wow. I legitimately did not know that thing. So yeah. I learned.
An excellent Quaran tip from Shlomo the Sheep and friend of the show, Willie Zabar, the artist and voice behind that. Before we go to our last check-in from Butter with Love, let's go ahead and pop over to our good friend, Carrie. I believe you have
Hi.
Hey,
Hi,
Carrie.
How are you? How's it going?
Rocking and rolling.
So I'm going to start with the wine. I'm going to go in chronological order.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
First, I decided to draw what I would consider to be a true New York glass of wine, which is, of course, sparkling because it's seltzer. And also it has Pizza Rat floating in it. And then also over here, this is just, I tried to really quickly draw Paul Giamatti from the movie Sideways. I'm a big fan of Paul Giamatti in the movie Sideways.
Oh my god, I love it, Carrie.
And then I did want to do a little take on Shlomo the Sheep because it is the first night of Passover, and I am a Jewish person, and Shlomo is an incredibly Jewish name, so I drew this Hasidic sheep as well. So yeah,
Carrie,
so good.
Well, this one, yeah, a little secret is I knew the name of the sheep prior to those 35 seconds, so I had some time to think things through and get started on them. That didn't take me 35 seconds.
Oh, for those of you who don't know or watching at home, I used to live with Carrie Griffin, and Carrie is one of the most delightful souls that ever I've encountered, and I cannot thank you enough for letting us bother you tonight and sharing your art. We'll have one more check-in with Carrie at the end of the show after the following. Again, one more plug for Frigid New York. Please head to Frigid NYC/donations. We have really enjoyed being here with you, and we would like to share a final meal if we can. Let's head back over to check in on From Butter with Love.
Let's.
My kitchen, do you smell that lovely smell? Isis and jambalaya is about ready. Look at that. How's yours coming? I hope it came just fine. Anyway, so John, why don't you show the camera a nice close-up of how lovely this dish looks. Mine might look better, but he's learning, like all good husbands do. Woo! So, I hope you all enjoy this lovely dish at home. Go plate up. Bon appetit!
Yeah, that looks really good. Honestly.
John, I gotta make that. If you're wondering how to follow along with what Leah and John just did, this is gonna live, I believe, on our YouTube page for a while. If you head to Paper Crane Productions on social media, there is a recipe card on our Instagram. As well as a footage from the show that I believe is going to live somewhere in perpetuity. Paul can correct me on that later if I'm wrong. It's at papercrane.com. One last check-in with the impossibly wonderful Carrie Griffin. Carrie, what did you make of that whole jambalaya situation?
Well, yeah, I did a sort of triptych, I guess, if you will, in that I drew 3 small things.
Outstanding.
So to start out with, over here we've got a shrimp, because jambalaya is a Cajun dish, and he's wearing a little chef hat, and he has an impossibly huge chef's knife because of John's knife skills. There was also some talk of who did the laundry versus who cooked. So here's a pot of jambalaya being cooked. It's laundry. So here's a bra. There's a sleeve. And then over here, because it is a vegan and thus a plant-based, sausage is involved. This is a sausage plant that I drew. That is a thing that I would like to exist very much, if that would be possible.
Carrie!
Oh my God.
Delight. We cannot thank you enough. Again, if you want to follow along Carrie's drawing endeavors, she is at What's in Your Rotten Soul on Instagram and is around in the world generally. Please go support your local Carrie Griffins on Twitter and social medias. Thank you. Y'all, thanks for spending your QuaranTIME with us. Cameron, you got any parting thoughts about how to spend your QuaranTIME?
Just letting it flow like a beautiful river. And our theme for next time also kind of speaks to that, kind of just like really, really diving into it, which is going the social distance.
So please join us in 2 weeks, same place. We are going to be back with Going the Social Distance. We're going to be joined by a lot of Kraine alums and some new folks. It's going to be a pop-in show. If I could leave you all with a modified quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. "QuaranTIME you enjoy wasting is not QuaranTIME wasted." So let's redefine our concept of wasting. Feeding your heart or your partner or your brain is not wasting QuaranTIME. So sing and draw and take care of each other. That's all you can do. How you choose to spend your QuaranTIME is up to you. Take care of each other. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
See you
you
next
for coming to
time.
Paper Crane.